What's up, Curly Connection? So I'm trying to be super discreet because Baloo gets a little bit jealous when I go live and I see her looking at me like, what's going on? She's coming over here. So she's going to grab all the squeaker toys, by the way, and start squeaking up a storm, but whatever. So tonight we are here. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about hair damage and also hair health, right? Which is basically the opposite. And this applies not just to the curly girls in the curly connections, but also just to hair health in general. So I thought it was appropriate that I came on my personal timeline for once and did a video on hair health, right? Because this really applies to everybody, not just the curly girls. And I think that there's a lot of confusion. As I've been writing the Science of Curls blog and doing all of this research, what I'm finding is that a lot of places, like there's a lot of bad information out there and it's super confusing. Have you guys ever been confused trying to figure out like the protein moisture balance, and is your hair excess of protein overload, right? How many people are talking about protein overload right now? And then is it excess moisture, all the things, right? We're going to talk about it all today. And I think I'm really going to be able to help you guys kind of understand like where is your hair at right now, because we can't really figure out a long-term game plan for our hair until we kind of figure out where we are. I know, Pam, I was just thinking that, like, first of all, super nervous to be live right now, right? Because guys, for those of you guys who have been kind of hanging out with me here for the last 2 years, I used to go live every single day. So it's crazy to like, I used to have this whole routine down. I used to like do my makeup every day and my hair every day. And it's like so different now. And those of you guys inside of the Curly Connection, you're probably going to notice that like today, my hair looks way different than it has the rest of this week. And it's because of all of this research that I'm doing, all of this work that I'm doing on the back end. There's not really a lot of like academic articles about hair care. Let me tell you the true story. Let me tell you the honest story here, right? We were putting together the Science of Curls blog. By the way, I have the link if you guys are interested in the description. We've done 2 blog posts so far, and there was supposed to be a third, okay? There was supposed to be a blog post last weekend about the protein and moisture and hair damage and protein overload. And we were writing this blog and I pulled the plug on it the last second because all of the information that is out there is super confusing. And like in my head, right, as an engineer in my head, I'm a woman of science. I'm trying to figure out like, how is protein and moisture in balance? Like they're not even the same thing at all. How could they be like a balance? There's either protein or moisture. Like that doesn't even make sense. I couldn't like figure it out, right? And everybody kept talking about protein overload, protein overload, protein overload. And I was trying to figure out like, what is the difference between protein overload and hair damage? And are we getting some of this stuff a little bit confused? So I have done the homework. I promise you I've done the homework. And I'm going to super like hyper simplify things today. By the way, what do you guys have in your cup today? I've been into like brewing teas. Like, it's a little weird. I won't lie. I'm like, I better get a sleeve or something so that nobody asks me what I'm drinking when I'm live. I don't want to answer any questions. I don't want to talk about it. It actually tastes good, and no, it's not urine. Okay, so we'll just like get to that now because I know those questions are coming. And also I know that there's gonna be comments in the comments like, I don't have curly hair. That's fine. This video does not just apply to curly hair. This video applies to all hair, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about, let's get into it. I don't want to waste your time. Hair damage, okay? So hair damage is the gradual deterioration of health of your hair from the scalp to the end. Now think about this. And we're not going to get into this too much, but your hair, once it like is visible outside of your skin, it is not alive. Yes, I will simplify it for you, Mia. And by the way, say hi to me as you guys are here. I can see your comments. I want to say hello. Your hair is never going to get healthier growing further away from the scalp. Okay. So, Christina, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to answer any questions. Okay. So your hair is never going to be healthier as it grows further away from the scalp. It's just the way it is. So yes, diet and other things can play into that. Thank you, Janice. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got my curls looking fly today. So hair damage is the gradual deterioration from root to end of your hair, and it is impacted by all the things. Basically, think of like environmental factors like the sun, like ultra cold, even ultra heat, high humidity, chemical factors. Okay, start thinking bleaching and dyeing and straightening and keratin treatments and whatever, all the things. But also under the chemical factor, I do want to make super clear that the overuse of products in your bathroom qualifies as chemical damage. Okay, and we're going to get a little bit into that as we start talking about protein overload, because most of the time, I'm just going to give you guys like a little snapshot right now. Most of the time I hear of somebody having protein overload, what is actually going on is they found a protein treatment and they used it and they loved it. And so they started using it multiple times a week under a heat cap all the time because it's awesome and they want all the good things. And then what ends up happening is chemical damage, okay? So, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. You guys will understand kind of the science behind that claim as we move through this. But so under chemical treatment, like do not think that you only have to go to a salon to get chemical damage. This is not true at all. Misuse of products, harsh ingredients, all of those types of things can cause hair damage, okay? And then mechanical factors, things like washing every single day, which I do. I not every day. I would say like 4 to 5 times a week. And I don't wash with like a clarifying shampoo. That's not cool. I would do like a co-wash. I definitely get my hair wet and condition because for me, like my hair like wants all the conditioner all the time, like all the conditioner. And so getting my hair wet really helps with my hydration levels in my hair. And we're going to be talking about that as well today. And so, mechanical damage. Think about brushing, think about rough handling, tying it in a ponytail, ripping it out of a ponytail or whatever, mangling it, like detangling it really rough. All of those types of things, right, are also going to cause hair damage. So if you don't want any hair damage, I recommend you basically don't get out of bed, because everything causes hair damage, and that's okay. That's why amazing products exist on the marketplace, and all we have to do is understand how they work. We have to understand how to use them, and then we can mitigate some of the damage that is going on, okay? And people with more extensive damage are gonna have a couple of other tricks too. So let's talk about that, okay? So there's really 2 types of hair damage, or like 2 main things that happen to your hair. Let's say this. 2 main things happen to your hair when it gets damaged, okay? The first is with the outer layer of your hair. The outer layer of your hair is called the cuticle. What's up, Whitney? So nice to see everybody again. I feel like I haven't seen everybody in so long. Okay, so the cuticle is like the outside of your hair. It kind of grows like roof shingles or like cuticle, like it's called the cuticle. It grows like roof shingles, like fish scales, right? Overlapping layers. And it grows like inside of the little pores in your head, and it just keeps growing, and then it keeps getting pushed down, right? So it's not like it's growing from the end, right? It's growing from the root. So this part, and you know, in my hair, it's probably possible that this part of my hair was actually grown or like made, let's call it, like probably like 5 years ago. Honestly, my hair grows in freaking circles, legit. So, so it's not going to get healthier as it grows away from your scalp, okay? And so the first thing that can happen, and this happens with normal wear and tear damage kind of thing that we see all the time. And by the way, if you guys are finding value, like tag a curly friend, tag a straight haired friend, right? There's the hair health in general. So I think it'll be super helpful for everybody. So what happens with the cuticle is that basically it gets kind of like swollen. It gets swollen and it kind of lifts off of the hair a little bit. And this is like #1 word we call this is frizz. Okay. And what it does is it increases the surface tension. So when your hair is like rubbing against each other, they like get more attracted to each other. Think like when you rub a balloon on your head kind of thing. And so then your hair starts knotting more, it starts tangling more, all of these things, right? what really happens when your cuticle starts to lift is that your hair becomes not unable to, it reduces your hair's ability to retain moisture. When that cuticle is nice and tight, the problem actually becomes getting your hair to absorb moisture. But once that cuticle starts getting lifted, your hair starts getting damaged. The problem is going to be that it can't retain moisture. And this is true whether your hair is naturally high porosity, which basically means that your hair already struggles to retain moisture. Okay, so when hair gets damaged and the cuticle starts lifting, it will increase the porosity of your hair. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean if you have a higher porosity hair that your hair is actually damaged, okay? Because some people, like me, my hair is super, super healthy, but I still have high porosity because my hair just like it, I don't know. I wish the cuticles would grow tighter. That would be cool. There is another problem that comes along with like really tight cuticles and really low porosity. We're going to talk about that as we go, okay? So the second type of damage that can happen to your hair is physical structural damage. And that's where the damage extends beyond the cuticle, beyond the outer shell, beyond the outer layer of hair, and starts impacting the core, or what is called the cortex. The cortex is where all of the protein in this hair is stored. It gives your hair structure. It gives your hair strength. It also is where almost all of the moisture is held. So when your hair becomes extremely damaged, right, then it starts impacting the physical structure of your hair. Okay, this is where things like protein treatments can start coming in. Again, your hair cannot get healthier as it grows further away from your scalp. And once your hair is damaged, it can't be repaired. It can only be reinforced. It can only be restructured. It can only be temporarily supported through the use of product. It can never be fully restored or fully repaired. Okay, so this is why in the Curly Connections community, we focus so much on hair health, because when hair is damaged, you rely on products quite a bit more, not just to restore the structure of your hair and add some of that protein that's being lost back, but also to deal with the moisture problem that we're going to talk about. Okay, so when you see structural damage to your hair, now usually this is when multiple combinations of factors, especially things like bleaching, like if you have hair like mine and you're trying to go platinum blonde, when you dye the hair, they physically like crack the hair open and break it so bad that they can take the melatonin protein like and dissolve it basically, and then like it, like the intention is to permanently damage your hair. That's how that rolls, by the way. So I just personally don't, I've been there, I've done that. It took me 6 years to recover from it. Like, I'm good. I don't knock people that want to color their hair. That's fine. Just understand the consequences that like it will increase the damage. So your hair will become more porous. So you're going to have to deal with more of the higher porosity strategies, right? And we're going to be coming out with an entire library of styling strategies for your hair this week as part of the Making Curly Hair Simple event that starts tomorrow. And guys, it's going to be so easy to figure out all the things about your hair, okay? So yeah, my blonde was a disaster as well, mostly because my hair just like turns red, and it's not like pretty red like yours, Amy. It was like not pretty red. So when your hair has structural damage, what you're going to notice in terms of like when you look at your hair, what it's going to look like, right? You're going to see breakage. You're going to see split ends. Your hair is going to look like, the word I see a lot is frayed, right? Frayed, like kind of flyaways, right? That is physical breakage of your hair because of lack of strength, because of the lack of protein that occurred because of the structural damage that your hair received
through a combination of factors that damaged your hair. You could have been using a brush without like detangling from the ends to the roots first, and then you just like went in with a brush and like ripped it all to shreds. You could have chemically treated it. You could have chemically straightened it. You could have used a protein treatment under a heat cap twice a week for a couple months. Whatever it is, like that is chemically, like that is damaging your hair enough to like really get into the cortex of your hair, that is going to leave you with structural damage. And when you have structural damage of that kind, that is really the only time you're going to want to do a protein treatment. Okay, let's talk about the infamous protein overload, right? Because I know so many of us are like, I think I need protein, but we keep hearing bad things about protein, or people who have bad experiences with protein. Here's how this works, okay? Protein, if you really want protein to bond to the hair and it reinforce its chemical structure and like build like that, the building blocks of your hair, right? And really help like reinforce it, make those bonds, then you have to apply heat. Okay, that's only going to happen with a product where in the first several ingredients is a hydrolyzed protein and in the presence of heat. Okay, now a lot of products that are out there contain protein and have proteins in them, even hydrolyzed proteins, and that's fine. They're not going to really bond to the hair. They might absorb in the hair and sit in the cortex until the wash day, but they're not going to form physical bonds with your hair unless there's the presence of like extreme heat, like under a heat cap or with a hair dryer or something like that. Okay. Here's the deal though. When these bonds are formed, they have to be lubricated. Think about like a new mechanical engine. I don't know. I mean, I'm an engineer. So I'm like, think about a mechanical engine and how you have to like lubricate it with oil. No? Just me? Okay. I don't know that much about Olaplex, Janice. I know that it's a super intense protein treatment. And yes, this same philosophy still applies, right? So anytime you do an intensive restorative protein treatment where you're applying heat and a product that is super heavy in hydrolyzed proteins, you have got to lubricate those joints before you just start like walking around living the dream, right? See, Tracy, I don't even know what Olaplex is. So don't ask me. I don't know. I only know, I don't do protein treatments because I don't have damaged hair. Like, so, and I know that's like kind of biased. Like, I can't help. But inside of the Curly Connections, like we do have a lot of amazing stylists like Tracy who know what they're talking about. I'm pretty sure Olaplex is like a salon only thing anyway. That might not even be true. Don't ask me about Olaplex because I have no clue what I'm talking about when it comes to Olaplex. So you have to lubricate those joints. And this is something that people miss all of the time. If you guys know somebody who's nervous about protein or afraid to use protein, or who has used protein and had a bad experience, thinks they have protein overload, like any of those things, like you might want to tag them, because here's what happens is that, yes, the hair becomes hard and brittle when you apply a protein treatment, because we didn't do a conditioning treatment afterwards. We didn't allow the hair needs strength and elasticity. It needs to be able to be strong, but also to stretch. And so if we create strength without creating elasticity, we're going to get breakage flat out. So that's kind of where the protein overload comes out. There is no such thing as too much protein, because there's only so much hair that the protein can bond to. And then it just like it washes away. Like it's like what protein overload is not even a thing. Like it's not even possible. It's not even a thing, because like scientifically, chemically, it doesn't even make sense. How does that work? Like, how is there too much protein? Okay. So the problem is that generally what happens is somebody has moderately to excessive damaged hair. They've been struggling. They find an amazing protein treatment product. They get great results, right? And then you're like, wow, this product worked amazing. It works so good, I'm going to do it again tomorrow. And then I'm going to do it again next week. And then I'm going to like once a week. Let's do it once a week because it's an awesome product. My hair loves it. But if we're not, again, lubricating those joints from the protein treatments that we're doing, then we're doing ourselves a disservice, right? We're ending up just causing more damage, causing more breakage, okay? So structural damage, I think we just about like beat that one into the bush. If you guys have any other questions, I'm trying to keep this like super simple, but there is a hairstylist out of Canada. Her name is Krista Levitt, and she did an interview with an amazing doctor. Her name is Dr. Susan Walker. It's inside of the Curly Connections community. And the video is epic. It's 2 hours long, but they go into like the sciencey stuff, like super nerdy sciencey stuff, but it's like in plain language that you can understand. And if you guys want to like know more about protein overload, that's basically, I think the video is actually called like the fake news protein overload or something like that. Like they were like super aggressive, like protein overload is not real. But if you guys want to know more about that, that video is super informative and they go through all of the scientific research and they cite their sources and it's epic. Yeah, Danielle, we don't talk about what's in my jar today because I made a tea and I was like, I gotta like cover it up because it looks weird. But anyway, we're not talking about it. I'm not answering questions about the tea tonight. Okay. The second thing that can happen when your hair is damaged is that it becomes more difficult to retain moisture, right? This is the problem, ladies, that we're going to have on any given day. Like when we're trying to figure out, okay, like how does my hair feel? If you're trying to figure out like your long-term game plan with your curls or with your hair in general, then you need to start like figuring out, do you have structural damage? How are you going to start mitigating that slowly over time, right? Your day-to-day life is going to be focused on moisture for real. So here's what happens is that your hair can experience both either an excess or a lack of moisture. And generally speaking, most of us most times, most of us are experiencing a lack of moisture in our curls. Lack of moisture looks like frizz, like the mane effect, I like to call it, or like the halo, right? I even have a little bit of like halo here, right? And I also have like under here, there was like a little piece that was like looking a little frizzy kind of. That's a lack of hydration. You're gonna your hair is just gonna feel dry. My hair doesn't feel dry at all today because I did a co-wash, a condition that I rinsed out, and then a condition that I left in completely because I understood that my hair needed hydration and my hair just loves the conditioner. Like it wants all the conditioner. So like my hair is super soft. It doesn't feel dry at all. But if it does, that's going to be like a lack of moisture, right? Your moisture game is going to be like your day-to-day, like your hair feel. Like, what does my hair feel like today? Does it feel like it's kind of more on the excess moisture? Excess moisture is going to look like your hair is heavy. It's going to feel like your hair can't hold style. You're going to get like some tangling and like just random, like kind of like knotting. Think almost like dreadlocks, kind of. Like your hair starts knotting like that. And it's like all like wet and kind of like heavy. Here's what happens. You have a wash day. And your wash day clarifies your hair. It takes all the products and buildup out of your hair, and your hair is totally clean, right? So you're following up your wash day with hydration, obviously. Usually what you'll do is either condition twice, if you're me, maybe even 3 times, I don't know. Or like if you have really low porosity hair, you might just like condition once and really work it in well, leave it in for a little while, right? Low porosity hair where the cuticle is really tight, your main like deal is going to be getting moisture inside. When moisture is inside your hair, it's going to stay in there really good. When you have a higher porosity hair, you're going to probably be co-washing more often. So a lower porosity hair, those are the girls who go into 5th day curls and look bomb because the moisture is inside of their hair and it's not coming out. It's not coming out. So they just have to wait until like they got to wash their hair. For somebody with higher porosity hair, what you're probably going to find is that you're washing with co-wash or just conditioner more frequently because your hair is losing moisture throughout the day and you have to put it back or it's just going to look frizzy. There are ways to do a refresh and get hydration into your curls, usually doing like one really hard scrunch. Right, I'm jealous of them too, Janice. I can refresh my curls, but it's just not the same. It's not. And like the beauty, like these curls, like this is not my wash day. This is not wash day. My wash day was like 2 days ago. So, but it's because like I am still putting filling products, and don't get too stuck on like fillers and sealers right now. We're gonna be talking about all of that inside of the group this week in our Making Curly Hair Simple event, right? So how can you choose products based on the health of your hair? But what I really wanted you guys to get out of this is that like excess protein or excess moisture and lack of moisture, these are going to be like your day-to-day battles, right? So as I start co-washing every day, conditioning every day, adding products into my hair every day without clarifying, my hair over time, like the pores, the cuticle that's lifted, the high porosity of my hair is going to like, it's going to start getting full of conditioners. I'm using the conditioners starting with wash day to trap moisture in my hair. So if every day I'm trying to use conditioner to trap moisture in my hair and fill it with conditioner or another styling product that's called a filler to trap that moisture in there, over the week, my hair is going to start showing symptoms of excess moisture. My hair is going to look heavy. My hair is going to have some buildup. My hair is not really going to be able to hold style. When I get my hair wet, it feels like I already put product in my hair, even though I didn't, because there's already product in my hair from the last few days since I washed, right? Also, the using silicons is going to make your hair look like it or feels like it has excess moisture, right? So when you see excess moisture, when you start seeing symptoms like the drowned wet or the drowned rat syndrome, that's what Anna calls it. Anyway, when you start feeling like your hair is heavy, it's not holding style, like those are clues that you need a wash day, okay? Just because I mentioned silicons real quick, like the thing about silicons that I want to talk about, besides the fact that like I'm eco at heart, I want to like reduce my dependency on petroleum. I don't want plastic in my hair. Silicons work. Silicons work, like they do. The main problem with silicons is that the only way to get them out is with a sulfate shampoo. And a sulfate shampoo is going to strip your hair of all its natural oils, all that is good and holy about your hair, all the vitamins and minerals that it needs. It's going to strip it all away. And then it perpetuates this continuous loop of now you stripped everything away, you cause more damage to your hair, so you need to use more silicons. And then when you use more silicons, you need to use more sulfates to get it out. And then you're in this perpetual state of creating of what we're trying to do, right? So it's not that silicons don't work. It's just that they keep you in a perpetual state of damaging your hair. And we could be using products that are actually helping with the overall health of our hair and getting out of that catch-22, right? Yeah, my hair hates silicone. It just makes my hair immediately need a wash day, and I'm not going to wash my hair every day. Like, I would rather be able to co-wash and condition for 6 days before I need to clarify, right? So I hope that that's kind of helpful, where like your day-to-day battle is going to be managing moisture, not managing protein. Protein in your hair is fine until you get structural damage that damages the core of your hair, the cortex of your hair, right? Yeah, I mean, Connie, that's what I'm saying, is that like she was saying the same exact thing, right? The thing about Dr. Susan Walker is that she has such a solid understanding of ingredients that she knows when she uses silicons, she's gonna need a sulfate shampoo to get them out. And she only washes her hair twice a month. So for her, using a sulfate shampoo and like silicons, like that works for her. But if you're trying to use silicons, like she styles her hair once with silicons and it lasts 2 weeks. Like if you're trying to use silicons every day, you're going to need to use sulfates every other day. And that is not what Susan Walker said to do. That is not what she said she did. So like, yes, I understand she does use silicons, and yeah, it's still a plastic, exactly. It works. I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying if you want to be able to like style your hair frequently and your hair is longer than 2 inches long and super kinky coily so that like it doesn't need that much work, like my hair would never work like that because I would need to be adding silicons every day, and the silicons would literally give me drown rat syndrome and make my hair look really heavy and tangly and frizzy, and look like it has excess moisture in just a few days. And then I would have to strip it. And then I would have scalp issues, right? So much of your hair health comes from your scalp health, right? So it ends up you just get stuck in this catch-22, generally speaking. Okay, so I'm not saying silicons don't work for everybody. I'm just saying there is a place and time when they work, but it involves an extreme understanding of ingredients and how they work. And if you don't want to spend that many hours trying to figure out ingredients, trying to figure out your hair, like most people don't want to spend 14 hours on like figuring out the science of curly hair, except for me. But most people don't. So if you don't, then that's when the curly girl method and the consciously curly method that we're launching this week really come into play. That's where they are a great guideline because they get you out of that perpetual state of hair damage and start focusing on like, you know, the long-term strategy, long-term health, right? So 6, 7, 8, 9, I think we covered it all. We did good work, guys. If you have any questions, of course, let me know. Make sure you guys are coming to hang out with us all this week inside of the curly hair, the curly connections. Obviously, the link is in the description of this video. Come on up, bud. You want to be famous? She's a little shy today. You're a little shy. This is my best friend, by the way. If you didn't know, now you know. This is Balu, and she's the best. Don't lick mommy. Mommy doesn't like that. All right, guys, well, have a great weekend. It's been awesome hanging out with you. I hope that this was super simple to understand. My goal was to take some of the learnings out of that 2-hour video, explain it in a way that made sense, and really like introduce this concept of like long-term strategy, day-to-day strategy. And there is no like this idea of protein, moisture, balance doesn't even make sense. How do you balance protein and moisture? Protein and moisture, water and amino acids. Like it doesn't even, like that's not even a thing. Can we please never, ever, ever say protein, moisture balance ever again? That's the goal of this video. I hope it worked. I hope that protein overload, we've kind of like understood that really protein overload is actually like, whoops, you accidentally overprocessed your hair and forgot to condition or forgot to condition afterwards. And also you just put like, you know, product on your hair under heat cap twice a week. That's not going to work. So awesome. It's great hanging out with you guys. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week. I can't wait to see everybody's curly hair transformations inside the group. Bye, guys.